So our next point is line support. So line support provides the safe clearance in between conductor and ground. Line support or a line structure. We'll see the line structure or line support in detail. The height of the line support depends on the system voltage. That means whatever that system voltage is, depending on that voltage, you have to use the different line support or different supporting structure. Either it is made up of wooden or RCC or steel pole or steel towers that you have to use, which is depends on the system voltage, the voltage that we have to transmit or distribute. So some of the desirable characteristics of that line supports are, so first one, it should have high mechanical strength to withstand the uncertain or unfavorable weather conditions. So unfavorable weather condition means the heavy storm, or you can say cyclones or heavy wind. That unfavorable condition, in that condition, your conductor or your conductor or your line support should withstand in that unfavorable weather condition. That's why the mechanical strength of that support should be high. Then next, it should have capable of bearing conductor weight. That means whatever that weight is connected to that tower or pole, that should bear the weight of that conductor. That support should bear the weight of conductor. Then next, light in Next point is the light in weight. That support should be light in weight with loss of mechanical strength. If you have to use that supporting structure which has less weight, then they should have long life. Then that means your supporting structure with withstand, or its life should be as high as possible. Then next point is low maintenance costs. It should have low maintenance cost. Then next, good appearance. Then next, easily accessible for maintenance. So these are the some characteristics of line support that you have to choose for certain transmission or distribution line. Then there are different types of line support that we have already discussed. Then type of line support, first one is RCC, that is reinforced cement concrete poles, then steel poles, wooden poles, then steel towers. By using this, we can support the line conductor. Then next, for which voltage, which type of support we can use. So these are the type of support, then voltage limit. So first one is wooden pole. We can use a wooden pole up to 11 kV, span of 150 meters. Span in between two poles, it will be 150 meter. Wooden pole we can use in a Jammu Kashmir or where your snowfall is there. Okay. So wooden pole is used up to 11 kV and span of 150 meter. Then second, steel pole, it can be used up to 33 kV and with the span of same 150 meter. Then RCC pole, that is reinforced cement concrete pole, it can be used up to 33 kV with the span of 75 meter. Then lastly, steel towers that we can use in case of higher voltage, that is 22 kV, 110 kV, 400 kV or 132 kV, whatever it may be, with the span of 320 meter. That means steel towers or steel structure can be used for higher voltage. Then next, insulators, and with the help of that insulator, the properties of insulator, some of the properties of insulator that we are using in a transmission and distribution circuit. So these are some properties. In that first one, electrical properties, then thermal properties, chemical properties, and physical properties. We'll see in detail. In that first one, electrical properties. In electrical properties, in that first one is insulation resistance. So insulation resistance of the insulator should be high. What insulation resistance? Nothing but the opposition to the flow of current to that material is called as insulation resistance. So insulation resistance of the insulator should be as high as possible. So it cannot pass the current through that insulator, or it cannot leakage the current through that insulator. So insulation resistance should be high in case of insulator. Then dielectric strength. The dielectric strength, it is the minimum voltage applied to the insulating material at which the insulating property get destroyed or damaged. That means at the minimum voltage of that across the insulator that we have to apply, at that voltage your insulating property of that material get destroyed. That voltage nothing but dielectric strength of that material, or it should be as high as possible. Dielectric strength should be as high as possible in case of insulator. Then next is dielectric loss. The energy absorbed by insulating material and dissipated in the form of heat when AC voltage is applied is known as dielectric loss or dielectric strength. So dielectric loss should be as low as possible. That means the energy absorbed by that insulating material but dissipated in the form of heat. So dielectric loss should be as low as possible. So these are the electric properties of the insulator. Then next, thermal properties of insulator. And that first one, heat resistance, the property of insulating material to withstand temperature variation within the limit without damaging the other properties. That means heat resistance. Your thermal property, that means insulation should be, or heat resistance of that insulator should be as high as possible. That means that property of material to withstand with variation in temperature within the limit. Then next, permissible temperature rise. The operating temperature decides the life of the insulator. That means as the voltage increases, life get decreases. So the operating temperature, the life of insulator depends on the operating temperature. Then over voltage or overloading causes temperature rise beyond the limit that will damage the insulator. That means if your insulator is designed for 33 kV and you are supplying continuously 44 kV or 50 kV or 66 kV, that's why the life of that insulator get reduces, or it may causes damage to that insulator. So this is the permissible temperature rise. The next point is thermal conductivity. The thermal conductivity means an insulator with better thermal conductivity will help for effective heat transfer through it to the atmosphere. That means the property that which in case of insulator that will effectively transfer the heat to the atmosphere. So that's why it should be better conductivity in case of insulator. Then next, chemical properties of the insulator. Then first one, chemical resistance. It should resist the chemical reaction. That means it should not affect by presence of any gases, water, acids. For example, gases across the insulator or acid on the insulator does not react or does not occur any chemical reaction. That's why it should have chemical reaction, should resist chemical reaction. So chemical resistance should be high in case of line insulator. Then weatherability. Weatherability nothing but it should not affect, or insulation should not affect the change in weather. That means whether it is rainy season, summer or winter. That means it should not affect with the help of any changes in weather. So it should have less effect of weatherability. The next, hygroscopicity. Hygroscopicity nothing but the property of material which absorbs the moisture. So the insulator should have non-hygroscopic. That means it doesn't, or it will not absorb any water, or it should not absorb any water or moisture content. So your insulator should be non-hygroscopic. The next properties, physical properties. So physical properties, in that first one is mechanical strength. The insulating material should have a higher mechanical strength to withstand stress and strain. So you are using the conductor with weight and you are using the supports. So in order to sustain that weight of the conductor, your insulator should have higher mechanical strength in order to sustain or in order to withstand that stress and strain occurred on the insulator. So it should have mechanically strength, or it should have high mechanical strength. Then porosity, nothing but the property of material that is porous, or that will ability to, you can say, moisture content, or in holes which causes, or which presence of hole, you can say, that will absorb the moisture as well as water content. Okay, the material is, if the material is porous, that is, if small holes are there, it will absorb the moisture. So insulator should have less porosity, so it should not absorb any moisture. Then next, density, it should have low density. Then next, brittleness, it should not be brittle. That means if the insulator is brittle, then it will break, or it will crack easily. So these are the properties of good insulators. So next point is types of line support. We'll discuss in detail. So types of line support, in that first one is wooden pole. The wooden pole is obviously made up of seasoned wood, or sal, or chair. That means we can make this pole with the help of sal tree, or chair tree, or seasoned wood. Then used for the small cross sections of conductor, that means which have low weight. Then it can be used up to 11 kV, or it can be used up to 22 kV in some cases. Okay, in some cases we can use wooden pole up to 22 kV with the span of 60 meter. Under the special condition, the single H type pole maybe works for voltage up to 132 kV. In case the particular area where small snowfall is more, so in that case we can use, it can be up to 132 kV with the span of 150 meter. Then properties of that, properly impregnated for the long life. So impregnated is nothing but it will that strength of that pole should be increased. Then some of the disadvantage of the wooden pole is there. So requires periodic inspection. That means that life of that wooden pole get degrade, or less as compared to steel or RCC pole. Then useful life becomes reduces. That is 20 to 25 years is the life of that wooden pole. Then decomposer, that is root, after a certain life period, that it get decomposed, that wooden pole get decomposed at the root. Then poor mechanical strength than the other, that is steel and RCC. So these are some disadvantages of wooden pole. Then next is steel pole. So it is also obviously made up of steel. Then it has better mechanical strength than the wooden pole. It is used for distribution system. Basically, it has life of 30 years, more than wooden pole. So it can be used for 11 kV, 150 meter for primary distribution, and for a secondary distribution 450 or 430 volt 50 meter for a secondary distribution. There are three types of steel poles. First is rail pole. It looks like a rail structure. Then tubular pole, that tube-like structure, and rolled steel joint pole. These are the three types of steel pole that we can use in case of distribution system. So some of the disadvantage of the steel pole are there. So first is costlier than the wooden pole. Obviously cost is more than the wooden pole. Then weight of the transportation is higher. It has more weight than the wooden pole. Then erection is difficult as compared to wooden pole, as wooden pole is light in weight. That's why steel poles are more heavier than the wooden pole. That's why erection is difficult. Then galvanization and painted regularly in order to avoid the corrosion. You have to painted and galvanization is done at the regular interval to avoid the corrosion in case of steel pole. Then next, RCC poles. that is reinforced cement concrete poles. It has high mechanical strength. They are used for a long span up to 75 meter. They have long life as compared to your steel pole. As it does not get corroded, that's why life get increased. It has low maintenance, no need of any coloring or painting. Then they have good insulating properties. Then they can withstand all the weather condition, either it is heavy wind or in summer or in winter. Then use up to 33 kV for urban as well as rural areas. So in case of both urban as well as rural area, we can use the RCC, that is cement concrete pole. Then some disadvantage is there. It has heavy weight. So weight of the RCC pole is more than your wooden as well as steel pole. So it is difficult to transport. Then transportation cost get increases. It is difficult to install or erect. So these are some disadvantages of RCC pole. Then next, steel towers, which is basically used for the transmission. Then it is suitable for voltage level up to 11 kV. We can use it up to 11 kV. It may also erected up to 33 kV in case of distribution. So in case of distribution, we can use up to 33 kV, but in case of transmission, if the voltage is 132 kV, 400 kV, 220 kV, we can use the steel towers. So main advantage of this steel tower is span is more, that is 320 meter. So it has greater mechanical strength. It has long life as compared to other equipments. It requires periodic painting as well as galvanization. Then next, in order to protect from the corrosion. So these are the steel towers, or these are the supporting structures that we are using in a transmission as well as distribution system. Then next, line insulators. The line insulators are used for overhead lines. So in case of transmission as well as distribution, we are using insulators. They provide insulation to the conductor from ground or support. So in order to connect the conductor, you can't directly connect the conductor to the tower. You have to use the insulator to isolate or to insulate the line conductor from the ground. They are connected to the cross arm of support. Then a conductor passed through a clamp of insulator. Then material used for insulator, obviously we are using porcelain as well as toughened glass. Also nowadays we are using toughened glass insulator, but in maximum cases the porcelain insulator can be used. Then next, properties of good insulator. Already we have discussed about this. So they should have high electrical resistance to avoid the leakage current. They should have high mechanical strength, good dielectric strength. They should have non-porous. That will, if the material is porous, that will absorb the moisture. So it should be non-porous. Then should have high ratio of puncture to flash flow. That means if your insulator get punctured, nothing but if certain cracks are there due to dust and dirt particle, due to presence of moisture, your insulator get punctured. That means that leakage current pass through that insulator. So it should have high ratio of puncture to flash flow. If the flash flow occurs, insulator should not be punctured. So this is your basic important property of that insulator. Then next, there are different types of insulator. In that, first one is pin insulator, then second suspension type insulator, then strain type insulator, shackle type insulator, and stress strain type insulator. So these are the insulators that we are using for different application or different voltage levels. So we'll see in details which type of insulator or construction of insulator and which type of insulator can be used for which type of voltage. So first of all, pin type insulator. So this is a pin type insulator. This structure is pin type insulator. So it used for operating voltage up to 25 kV. We can use pin type insulator. So we can see the structure. It is made up of porcelain material, and it consists of a single or multiple shells. This element nothing but shell. It consists of single or multiple shells. Then multiple shells provide the sufficient length of the leakage path. That means if you are using 2 or 3 shells, 2 or 3 sections of this insulator, it will provide the sufficient length of leakage path, that leakage through that insulator. Then for supporting insulator, steel bolt or pins are used. So basically pins are used in case of this insulator. There is a groove on upper end of the insulator. That means we already discussed in a last lecture. So there is a groove in order to connect the conductor. So here you can see there is groove in order to connect the conductor in this groove, in the upper part of the insulator. Then next, where operating voltage, that is 33 kV pin type insulator, becomes uneconomical. That means it will that cost of that insulator beyond certain voltage, that will increases. So it becomes uneconomical in case of beyond 33 kV voltage, because we are using 2 or 3 sections or 2 or 3 shells, that will increase the cost of that insulator. Then next type of insulator is suspension type insulator. The pin type insulator is uneconomical beyond the 33 kV operating voltage. So that's why the suspension type insulator are used for the higher voltage, more than 33 kV, when number of units are connected in series. That means number of that sections or number of disc, you can say, it will connected in series, it will form the string insulator, the string of that insulator. It consists of one or more porcelain unit in a series by a metal link, which is connected with the help of metal link. The upper end sorry, the upper end of the string is attached to the cross arm, which can be connected to the conductor. Then conductor, which is at the bottom of the string, that means at the last element of the string. Then each disc is designed for 11 kV. The number of discs per unit is depend on the operating voltage. As voltage increases, the number of discs will also increases. So you can see here, this your strain or this your disc, single disc is there. Upper portion is bolted to the supporting structure, and here is a groove in order to connect the conductor. So number of this disc can be connected if the voltage is increased. Suppose voltage is 33 kV, we can use 3 discs. If voltage is 132 kV, we can use 6 discs, depending on the voltage level. As voltage increases, your disc, that is number of disc, that will increases. So this is your suspension type string insulator or string type insulator. So advantages of this type of insulator is economical than the pin type insulator for 33 kV voltage. Depending on the operating voltage, number of discs can be connected in a series. When one insulator fails, only that insulator in a string is need to be replaced. So this is your basic advantage. If single insulator get failed, that can be replaced in a string. No need to replace all the string. Then it is more flexible. The flexibility of the line also get improved. Then arrangement of disc for increased demand of transmission is easy. If voltage get increased, then arrangement of disc can be changed. So it can be changed easily. Then provide partial protection from the lightning. So it also provide the partial protection, but it will doesn't provide any complete protection. That's against lightning. So we have to use the lightning arrestor in case of lightning strokes. So these are some advantages of suspension type insulator. So we'll see in next part in the next lecture.